Snark Squad, babes.
Good morning.
It is Thursday morning, and babes, the iced lattes are giving caffeine, caramel, and chaos.
We have got another work day ahead, but we are energized, awake, and ready.
Let's be clear. We just got Starbucks iced coffees, and honestly, they are giving caffeine and chaos, which we fucking love. Cheers.
Cheers! I am literally clinking this sweating plastic cup against yours with the fervor of a woman who has, stared into the abyss of a fully booked dental schedule.
Oh my God, yes.
And just decided to survive on pure, unadulterated bean juice. Like, the condensation is dripping onto my scrubs right now, but the spirit is alive.
We need to talk about last night, Rose and Thorn. Because, babes, after recording 7 sessions yesterday, we were done.
Oh, completely.
I'm not even exaggerating to you, Snark Squad. When I finally unlocked my front door last night, my body underwent a complete, somatic shutdown.
Right, like a factory powering down.
Exactly. I dropped my leather tote bag right there on the entryway runner. I didn't even turn on the overhead lights. I just stood there, staring blankly at the beige wall of my living room for what felt like 45 consecutive minutes.
That is deeply concerning, but also incredibly relatable.
I was catatonic. I couldn't summon the basic motor function to peel off my scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
My jaw was physically throbbing from articulating so much gossip and, the real benchmark of my exhaustion.
Right.
I couldn't even scroll TikTok.
Oh, wow. That is bad.
Right. Do you know how depleted my dopamine receptors had to be to actively reject the TikTok algorithm? I couldn't let it wash over my brain. It was just me, the beige wall, and the ringing in my ears.
It truly is grueling labor. That is unequivocally my thorn. Like the sheer unadulterated delusion we possessed. Looking at each other yesterday morning and thinking, oh yeah, we can absolutely record for 7 hours straight.
So delusional.
Right? Just dissecting the absolute dregs of reality television psychology and then magically function like normal contributing members of society afterward. It's clinical arrogance.
It really is.
My rose, however, was the silence of my car ride home.
Oh, the silence is golden.
Complete sensory deprivation silence. No one screaming about cheating scandals. No one crying in a Sprinter van. Just the sweet, empty hum of the highway. But honestly, the toll it takes to analyze the psychological warfare of these people is roughly equivalent to running a mental marathon in stilettos.
Literally, we are doing the emotional heavy lifting of licensed therapists for people who throw wine glasses for a living.
We really are.
And then we have to wake up at 6 a.m. to prep for actual living, breathing dental patients, which, by the way, leads me directly into the madness of today.
Oh, no.
Because before we even get into the reality TV mess, we have our own mess. We have breaking news.
We do.
Because this morning, you received the most chaotic call from a coworker, and babes, we need to discuss.
Oh, we are discussing it because the adrenaline spike I experienced this morning was entirely non-consensual.
I am shaking just thinking about it. Tell them. Tell the Snark Squad exactly what happened.
So at 6:45 a.m., before the caramel from this latte had even breached my blood-brain barrier, my phone rings.
Ugh, the worst time for a phone to ring.
It's the front desk from the dental office. And our receptionist is in an absolute hyperventilating panic, like her voice is actively shaking.
Oh my God.
Why? Because the entire morning schedule has imploded before the automatic glass doors have even unlocked for the day. So we have a patient, let's just refer to her as the Empress of Entitlement.
The Empress, yes.
She was scheduled for a massive multi-unit anterior bridge prep. Now, for the non-dental Snark Squad listening, an anterior bridge prep is not just a quick filling where you are in and out in 20 minutes.
No, it is major.
This is major architectural work. We are taking the front teeth, the absolute focal point of a human being's smile, and shaping them down to microscopic stabilizing pegs, taking excruciatingly detailed silicone impressions.
And it takes forever.
Right, and building a temporary resin structure so the patient doesn't walk out looking like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. It requires extreme precision. We had her blocked out for 3 hours.
3 hours.
A 3-hour block is prime real estate in a dental schedule. It is the financial anchor of the entire morning.
It is the crown jewel. If that 3-hour block falls through, the entire day's production goal just goes up in flames.
Yeah.
And it's the front teeth. The pressure is astronomical.
Precisely. So the front desk calls me to say that not only has the Empress canceled this incredibly vital appointment by leaving a garbled voicemail at 3:14 a.m.
3:14 in the morning. Who does that?
Right, but in the voicemail, she demanded that we courier her temporary flipper, which we don't even possess because it's currently sitting at the offsite lab being fabricated.
Right.
She demanded we couriered it to her hotel because she decided in the middle of the night to take a spontaneous trip to Cabo San Lucas.
A courier to Cabo. As if we have a fleet of dental helicopters on standby to drop a temporary flipper onto the beach.
It's pure delusion.
I'm spiraling. The audacity of the general public never ceases to amaze me. But babes, that is not even the chaotic part.
It really isn't.
The chaotic part is what was happening behind the scenes in the sterilization room. I am shaking just thinking about it. Tell them the rest.
Right. So the Cabo demand is just the appetizer of this disaster. The main course is that while the front desk receptionist is spiraling about this gaping 3-hour hole in our schedule, the lead dental assistant suddenly takes the phone.
Oh, God.
And she is whispering like we are in the middle of a hostage negotiation.
Why are they always whispering?
I don't know. She tells me that our custom dental shade guide has mysteriously vanished from the sterilization room.
A custom shade guide. Snark Squad, let me translate this for you. A shade guide is not like a little paper paint swatch you pick up at Home Depot.
Not at all.
This is a precisely calibrated, light-refracting porcelain index imported from Germany. It costs upwards of $1,000. It is the exact tool we use to make sure your fake teeth don't look like chiclets.
Exactly. It is a highly expensive, irreplaceable piece of diagnostic equipment. And the lead assistant, in this breathy, espionage-level whisper, accuses the brand new hygienist of purposefully throwing it into the biohazard bin yesterday afternoon.
I'm screaming.
Why? Because the new hygienist claims she was quote-unquote decluttering the operative trays.
Decluttering. You don't declutter a sterilization room. It is a sterile medical facility, not a capsule wardrobe in a minimalist studio apartment.
Well, apparently she felt the need to spark joy in the biohazard bin.
There is no decluttering of a $1,000 German medical instrument. I am screaming. The idea of walking into an office where a 3-hour block has evaporated into the Mexican ether, the production goals are shot, and the staff is actively turning on each other over missing porcelain.
It's a lot.
Babes, this is why workplace drama is completely inescapable. You cannot outrun it. You go to work to prep margins and drill cavities, and suddenly you're dropped into the middle of a daytime soap opera.
It was a perfectly executed tactical strike of chaos. A 3 a.m. cancellation mixed with internal staff sabotage. And the whispering assistant. That's what elevated it from a mere scheduling issue to high art.
The whispering is what gets me.
Right, because she didn't want the new hygienist, who was apparently already in the break room, to hear her. So she was giving me this detailed rundown of the trash bags she had already covertly searched.
It makes me want to pull my own hair out.
Yeah.
But it also brings us to the most important question of the morning. Let's ask the question, because the Snark Squad needs to weigh in on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Does everyone need a work bestie? Because in moments like that, when the schedule is in flames, the Empress is demanding couriers to Cabo, and the new hygienist is throwing $1,000 equipment into the biohazard waste, you desperately need someone.
Need them for what, exactly?
You need them to drag into the panoramic X-ray room, shut the heavy lead-lined door, and just scream with.
See, I look at it analytically. Having a work bestie is a high-risk, high-reward investment. And honestly, the risk profile usually outweighs the reward.
What? No way.
Yes, the immediate gratification of having someone to roll your eyes at when the lead assistant is literally digging through bloody gauze in the trash is immense.
Exactly.
But let's look at the data of human behavior. Work besties blur professional boundaries. They are a massive liability in a clinical environment.
How is it a liability to have emotional support while dealing with the terrifying reality of the general public? The public is unhinged.
They are, but still.
You need someone to vent to in the sterilization room. You need someone to validate your feelings when a patient is incredibly rude or when they lie directly to your face, looking you dead in the eye, claiming they wear their Invisalign 22 hours a day when their attachments are literally coated in plaque.
That is maddening, I'll admit.
A work bestie is the only thing standing between you and a total mental breakdown next to the ultrasonic cleaner.
It's a liability because of the fallout potential. A work bestie relationship is a powerful incubator for gossip. And gossip is a contagion. It spreads.
But it's fun gossip. Until it's not. You share too much. You complain about the office manager's scheduling habits, you vent about a specific doctor's chairside manner, and then what happens when that alliance inevitably fractures?
They don't always fracture.
They almost always fracture. I've seen it happen a dozen times. Two hygienists become inseparable, they share a Spotify playlist, they sync their lunch breaks, they buy each other iced coffees.
Oh, lovely.
And then one gets assigned a better shift, or one catches the other charting a procedure incorrectly. The falling out happens, and suddenly the entire workplace becomes a toxic, radioactive war zone.
Okay, that's dramatic.
You're trying to do a delicate root canal, and the tension in the room between the assistant and the hygienist is so thick you could cut it with a scalpel. It compromises patient care, it's unprofessional, and it's dangerous.
Okay, I hear your clinical, sterile logic, but I completely reject it. I refuse to live like that. The pros absolutely outweigh the cons.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Without a work bestie, you are alone on a depressing island of composite resin and saliva. You need that specific person that you can look at across the top of a patient's head over the glare of the operative light and communicate entire paragraphs of judgment with a single microscopic eyebrow raise.
The eyebrow raise is a powerful tool.
That is survival. I am fiercely emotionally pro-bestie. Snark Squad, I need you in the comments right now. Do you have a work bestie, or are you operating like a cold, calculating lone wolf in your office?
Yeah.
What are the boundaries? I need to know how you guys are surviving the 9 to 5.
I maintain cautious skepticism. Keep your friends close and your coworkers at a polite, emotionally regulated, deeply documented distance.
You are so cold. You are a literal ice queen. But babes, speaking of toxic alliances, documented distances, and spectacular fallouts, let's be real.
Let's do it.
April has been that month. For celebrity news, like babes, the gossip has been incredible.
It really has been a goldmine.
We have lawsuits, we have wiretaps, we have dissolved marriages. So Snark Squad, let's get into it.
We need to start with what is essentially a masterclass in legal self-sabotage. We just talked about surviving the psychological warfare of the dental office, but the people we are about to discuss are dodging the penal system, the family court system, and the federal bankruptcy courts.
The actual courts.
Let's look at the courts of chaos.
Babes, Lisa Hochstein and Jody Glidden. The Real Housewives of Miami. I cannot breathe. The details of this arrest warrant just dropped, and it is giving me actual physical hives.
It is wild.
I need you to break down the mechanics of this. Read the details of this absolute insanity.
I will read it with the analytical precision it deserves because the sheer, breathtaking stupidity of this operation is staggering.
So stupid.
So Lisa Hochstein and her now ex-boyfriend, Jody Glidden, were facing criminal charges. Jody was actually arrested and booked. Lisa turned herself in to the authorities, and her bail was set at $5,000.
A mugshot era.
Why are a Miami housewife and her tech entrepreneur boyfriend dealing with the criminal justice system? Because they allegedly conspired to hide an illegal audio recording device inside her ex-husband Lenny Hochstein's car.
A wiretap. A literal illegal wiretap. They went full CIA on a Miami plastic surgeon.
Let's break down the timeline and the technology because it's crucial to understanding how badly they failed.
Please do.
According to the arrest warrant, on March 10, 2023, Lenny loans his car to Lisa. Her stated reason: she claimed she was thinking of buying one of the exact same model for herself and wanted to test drive it.
Snaky.
First of all, a rule of thumb for anyone listening: never loan your primary vehicle to your estranged, highly litigious, deeply furious ex-wife.
Obviously.
2 days later, on March 12th, she returns the car. Fast forward to March 31st. Lenny is driving, and he discovers a suspicious device shoved into the floorboard underneath the driver's seat.
Just sitting there.
It is completely covered in black tape, presumably an attempt to camouflage it against the floor mats. Lenny, who has the financial resources to not just throw it away, hires forensic audio experts. They extract the device and pull the data.
And this is where it goes from a sneaky bad idea to a catastrophic legal failure, because they didn't just record Lenny.
Correct. The device, which was apparently voice-activated, captured dozens of hours of Lenny's private conversations.
So messy.
Under Florida law, which is a two-party consent state, it is a felony to record someone without their knowledge and permission. This isn't New York, where only one person needs to know.
Right.
In Florida, this is a severe violation of wiretapping statutes. It captured Lenny talking about his finances, his plastic surgery practice, and his personal life. But the forensic team didn't just pull the active files. They pulled the deleted files.
Oh my God, the deleted files.
And here is the piece de resistance. They recovered deleted audio of Lisa and Jody holding a discussion, and you can distinctly hear the rustling of the device being wrestled into place under the seat, culminating with Lisa literally saying the word done.
S-stop-E-A-T.
Yeah.
She recorded herself committing the felony. She said, "Done. I am screaming." It's like a cartoon villain narrating their own crime.
It's unfathomable.
But babes, you are leaving out the most humiliating part. Tell them what else the forensic team pulled from the deleted audio.
Oh, yes. The detectives pulled deleted material that included a continuous audio file of Lisa and Jody, and I quote, the police warrant directly here, engaged in intimate activities.
I am hyperventilating. I am physically unwell. You plot an illegal wiretap, you tape it under the seat of a car, and you somehow manage to leave high-definition audio of yourselves having sex on the actual device before you plant it.
It defies all logic.
How did that even happen? Did they turn it on to test it, hook up, and then forget to wipe the flash drive? It is so sloppy. It is so profoundly embarrassing.
It reveals a total lack of understanding of digital forensics. When you hit delete on a cheap flash memory device, it doesn't actually erase the data.
It doesn't.
No, it just tells the computer that the space is available to be overwritten. Until new data overwrites it, the original audio is easily recoverable by anyone with basic recovery software.
Wow.
But wait, there is a cherry on top of this disaster. The warrant alleges that detectives trace the device back to Jody. How? Because Jody bought 2 devices of the exact same make and model on his personal Amazon account 3 months prior.
On Amazon.
On Amazon. You're trying to run a Black Ops espionage mission on a multi-millionaire, and you leave a digital, itemized paper trail on your Prime account.
With free 2-day shipping.
The lack of sophistication is honestly insulting to the criminal justice system. If you are going to commit a felony, at least go to a brick-and-mortar electronics store in a neighboring county, pay with unsequenced cash, and wear a disguise.
Okay, I hear you. The execution was a complete disaster. It was a 1-star Amazon review of a crime. It was amateur hour.
Say the least.
But, T, I'm going to push back on you here. Let me play devil's advocate for my girl Lisa. Because we have to look at the psychological state she was in.
Her psychological state doesn't excuse a felony.
Lenny was allegedly cheating on her. He had his new mistress living in the house. He was flaunting this new relationship in front of her and her children. The emotional urge to know what your gaslighting husband is saying behind your back, to know if he is actively hiding marital assets before the divorce is finalized.
I get the impulse, but...
Babes, I get it. The urge to spy is so deeply, painfully understandable when you are locked in a toxic, paranoid spiral of a divorce. She felt powerless, and she just wanted proof of what she knew was happening.
Understandable. Perhaps from a purely emotional, sympathetic standpoint.
Right.
Justifiable. Legal. Absolutely not.
I know it's not legal, but still.
You cannot violate federal and state wiretapping laws simply because you're having a bad divorce and you feel gaslit. The law does not have an exemption for hurt feelings. She bailed out for $5,000, but this is a serious criminal charge.
Oh, I know.
You do not play spy games with Amazon equipment and expect to win against a guy who has the capital to hire a team of forensic audio specialists and aggressive litigators. It was a strategic failure born of emotional impulsivity.
It's tragic, honestly. The paranoia made her slocky. But speaking of incredibly messy divorces and massive piles of money, or in this case, the sudden lack thereof,
Yes.
we have to talk about Drew Sidora and Ralph Pittman from Real Housewives of Atlanta, because the income gap in their divorce has just been made public. Babes, the numbers are out in the court documents, and my jaw is permanently on the floor.
Let's break down the financials and the legal mechanics of this custody battle because it is a masterclass in leverage.
Please.
In their contentious divorce proceedings, court documents were unsealed, revealing that Drew, a working actress and reality star, brings in an average of $12,066 per month.
Now, by normal civilian standards, that is not terrible.
I mean, shout out to that's a Raven and White Chicks residuals. $12,000 a month is solid. She is a working actress keeping her head above water. Right, but we have to compare it to her estranged husband, Ralph. Ralph, who works in tech, which, let's be honest, is the most ambiguous, opaque job title on the Bravo network next to lifestyle entrepreneur.
Literally, what does he do?
He brings in $71,524 monthly.
$71,000 a month.
Yeah.
Over $800,000 a year.
Yeah.
What exactly is he doing in tech?
It's a staggering amount.
Is he quietly inventing the next iPhone in his garage? Is he running a server farm in Atlanta? That is an insane amount of money. And yet, despite that massive wealth disparity, the custody battle is completely destroying her.
It really is.
Drew temporarily lost primary custody of their kids. She has been court-ordered to vacate the marital home by May 31st. She is begging the judge to reconsider the housing order because she claims she literally will not have the liquid financial resources to secure a new home for her and her children and will be, in her words, homeless.
Let's look at Ralph's legal strategy here because it is clinically cold and highly effective.
So cold.
Drew alleges in her filings that Ralph agreed to share joint physical custody outside of court. According to her, he looked at her and said, "Don't worry, we're going to co-parent. We'll do joint custody." He lulled her into a false sense of security.
Which is so toxic.
And then, the absolute second they get in front of the family court judge, his lawyers file a request for primary physical custody and exclusive use of the marital residence.
It is so manipulative. It is evil. He disarmed her emotionally and then ambushed her legally.
It is the ultimate bait and switch. I look at Ralph's out-of-court promises versus his in-court actions the exact same way. I look at a dental patient who sits in my operative chair, looks me dead in the eye, and promises they floss twice a day.
Oh my God, yes.
They speak with such conviction, but the absolute second I lean that chair back, turn on the overhead light, and touch a periodontal probe to their gums, the tissue erupts.
Blood everywhere.
Bleeding everywhere. It looks like a crime scene. The words mean absolutely nothing. The clinical reality of the tissue reveals the undeniable truth. Ralph's clinical reality is that he wants total, unmitigated control over his ex-wife and his children. And he's using his $71,000 a month financial leverage to completely suffocate her in court.
That periodontal analogy is so aggressively accurate. The gums do not lie, and neither do court filings. It is a periodontal disaster of a marriage. He is bleeding her dry.
He absolutely is.
And sticking with the Real Housewives of Atlanta, we have a newbie coming incredibly hot, Pinky Cole, the famous founder of the slutty vegan restaurant empire.
Yes, the timing on this legal maneuvering is fascinating. Pinky Cole filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy literally days after Bravo officially confirmed her casting for season 17 of Atlanta.
Such bad timing.
And now the courts are moving in. Creditors are actively seizing her investment properties just in time for new renters to move in.
But the best part, the absolute undeniable delusion of this entire scenario, is what she is asking the bankruptcy judge to do.
This part is incredible.
She filed a motion begging the federal judge to keep all of her financial records sealed from the public. Her reasoning: she told the court she is a celebrity and doesn't want the media knowing her private business or how much money she actually has.
It makes no sense.
Babes, you just signed a contract to join the Real Housewives. The entire fundamental premise of the Bravo franchise is wealthy women aggressively interrogating each other's bank accounts, tax liens, and mortgages on national television.
The cognitive dissonance required to make that request is profound. Let's explain Chapter 11 for a moment.
Please do.
Chapter 11 is not a liquidation where you sell everything and walk away. It is a reorganization of debt. You are asking the federal government to protect you from your creditors while you restructure your business.
Right.
In exchange for that immense protection, the trade-off is complete unvarnished public transparency. You have to open your books. You cannot join a reality franchise that treats financial ruin as a competitive spectator sport and then ask a federal bankruptcy judge to seal your records because of your self-proclaimed celebrity.
You just can't.
The ink wasn't even dry on her Bravo contract before she hit Chapter 11.
I cackle. I just cackle at the sheer audacity of it. It's giving pay no attention to the man behind the curtain while literally standing on a brilliantly lit national television stage holding a vegan burger.
Exactly.
You cannot be a housewife and have a secret bank account.
Yeah.
The producers will find it, the other women will weaponize it, and the blogs will publish it. It's the circle of Bravo life.
Let's pivot our legal analysis to Beverly Hills, where the numbers might be slightly smaller in this specific case, but the pettiness is astronomical.
Oh, this one.
Kathy Hilton is currently being sued for a slip-and-fall incident at her Bel Air estate.
This story horrifies me on a deep, fundamental level. A woman named Kimberly Heffington is suing Kathy after attending her 2024 charity estate sale.
Okay.
According to the lawsuit, Kimberly was walking down an outside stone staircase that leads from the tennis court to the pool area, and her foot caught on, quote, uneven pavers. She tripped, she fell, and she tore her right medial meniscus.
A very common injury.
And now, what is the remedy she is seeking? She wants Kathy Hilton to pay her $55,000 a year for life.
Let's do the math on this specific grift, and let's examine the premises liability law behind it.
Yes, let's do the math.
When you invite the public onto your property for an estate sale, they become invitees, which means you owe them the highest duty of care to ensure the premises are safe.
Hmm.
The lawsuit alleges Kathy failed to mark the uneven stones with traffic cones or bright safety signs.
Traffic cones.
Now for the damages. Kimberly wants $55,000 a year. Let's assume Kimberly is relatively healthy and lives another 30 years. That is $1.65 million for a torn meniscus because she wasn't looking down at her own feet while navigating an outdoor garden path.
That is insane.
A meniscus tear is a common knee injury. It requires arthroscopic surgery and some physical therapy. It is not a $1.6 million catastrophic disability.
Traffic cones. In Bel Air, can you imagine Kathy Hilton in a floral Oscar de la Renta caftan placing bright orange, reflective construction cones around her pristine swimming pool?
It would clash terribly.
Oh, excuse me, darling. Mind the Caltrans barricade next to the cabana. Watch your step by the petunias. It's absurd. It completely ruins the aesthetic of an estate sale.
It is aesthetically absurd, but it is also a brutal lesson in liability risk management. As an analytical exercise, weigh the cost of a $55,000 a year lifetime payout against the cost of a few tasteful, Beverly Hills appropriate warning signs.
I guess.
Even a chic little velvet rope or a brass stanchion would have legally sufficed to warn the invitees of the uneven pavers. But this is the inherent hazard of opening the gates of your 15,000 square foot compound to the general public.
People are just waiting to sue.
Someone is always looking for a payday, they see the Hilton name, they trip on a rock, and suddenly they want a permanent salary.
A lifetime salary for a knee injury.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am in the wrong profession. I need to stop doing dentistry and start walking around more billionaire estates in my spare time just looking for loose cobblestones.
Not a bad retirement plan.
And finally, in the courts of chaos, we have to touch on the Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Yes, the Rhode Island foot surgeon, Dr. Brian Pontarelli. He is currently suing his alleged mistress, a medical esthetician named Beth Walker, for breach of contract.
I am living for the petty regional details of Rhode Island. So Beth has been posting these deeply shady Instagram stories. She posted a foot emoji on a black background because he's a foot surgeon. Get it?
Very subtle.
And hinted at a 2.5-year affair. There's another video of her out for drinks, and the bartender hands her a cocktail and says, "What's the drink, Brian?" And she captions the video with yet another foot emoji. It is so profoundly passive-aggressive.
The foot emojis are a nice, subtle touch of digital warfare. But here is the fascinating analytical question regarding the mechanism of this lawsuit. Brian sued her because she allegedly violated a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA.
An NDA for an affair.
Let's think about the psychology of that. If you have to make your mistress sign a binding legal document with liquidated damages clauses just to have an affair with you, doesn't that inherently strip every ounce of romance and spontaneity out of the cheating?
Right. Imagine the pillow talk. "Darling, I want to sweep you off your feet and run away with you, but first, please review Clause 4, subsection B regarding financial penalties if you post an emoji on your Instagram grid.
Exactly.
Sign here, please. Press hard. It's a carbon copy."
It's treating infidelity like a corporate merger. You are mitigating the risk of your adultery with corporate paperwork. And clearly the mechanism failed because the NDA didn't stop her, and now the entire messy affair is public record in the Providence Superior Court.
The ultimate mess. But babes, money and lawsuits destroy marriages. We know this. We've seen the court dockets. But bruised egos, that is what destroys Bravo casts. Let's transition into the implosion of our favorite friend groups. Bravo exits, feuds, and fractured friendships.
The mass exodus of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. It is a tectonic shift in the Bravo universe. We are watching the collapse of an empire in real time.
I'm still reeling.
Yeah.
Margaret Josephs officially confirmed she is leaving the show. And the crazy part is she actually test filmed in August with the new girls they brought in to try and save the franchise.
Right.
But she point-blank refused to film any scenes with Teresa Giudice and Jackie Goldschneider. She went on a podcast and said Jackie is dead in the water and that she completely humiliated her.
Nope.
And she said Teresa crossed unforgivable boundaries and is simply not my people.
Margaret looked at the chessboard of the cast, analyzed the dynamics, and realized she was playing a game with people she fundamentally despises.
Exactly.
She said she left on a vindicated high before the production lights fully went on for the season. But the bigger, more systemic issue is Teresa's comments on her own podcast. Teresa stated publicly that she's not sure if she will ever film a single scene with her own brother, Joe Gorga, ever again.
Her own brother.
And G. Giudice, who has essentially become a cast member, chimed in to say that her mother never forgets when people she loves hurt her.
Gia is always there to act as the Greek chorus for Teresa's grudges. She is the historian of the Giudice family anger. But babes, I have to ask you, can RHONJ even survive this? Half the cast violently hates the other half. They won't even sit in the same room. It's so toxic.
Let's dissect this analytically from a television production standpoint. The franchise cannot survive in its current state. The team mentality, Team Teresa versus Team Melissa and Marge, has completely metastasized.
It's a cancer to the show.
It is like an aggressive infection that has killed the organic, joyful tissue of the show. You cannot have an ensemble cast where the ensemble categorically refuses to share oxygen.
Yeah.
It becomes two separate, dark, brooding shows spliced together in the editing bay.
Which is so boring to watch.
The absolute beauty of early Housewives, the reason the format worked so well, was the fluidity of the alliances. They would fight viciously, someone would flip a table, they would scream prostitution whore, and then remarkably, they would be crying over a plate of meatballs and hugging the very next day.
Exactly. They forgave each other.
The alliances shifted constantly. Now, the grudges are entrenched, trench warfare, no one moves, no one forgives. It's dark, it's heavy, and frankly, it's unwatchable.
It is. It's exactly like going to a family Thanksgiving dinner and being forced to sit between two uncles who are actively suing each other over a property line. The tension is suffocating. Nobody even wants to eat the turkey.
A perfect analogy.
And speaking of people complaining about the mechanics of their jobs, Vicki Gunvalson on Orange County.
Yes. The absolute OG of the OC is back on our screens, and she is whining about the labor conditions. She complained on her podcast that filming season 20 is far too demanding for her. She explicitly stated that production is making her film 2 to 3 scenes a day.
2 to 3 scenes. Oh, the humanity. Alert the labor board.
She went further. She said she actually bailed on a cast event after only 2 hours because she was exhausted and kept looking at her watch, desperately wanting to go home to her couch.
I have zero sympathy. Absolutely zero. Babes, I am emotionally and physically exhausted from actual dentistry.
We all are.
You get dressed up, you hold a chilled glass of Pinot Grigio, you sit in a deeply upholstered chair at a trendy coastal restaurant, and you argue about who spread a reamer about whose boyfriend. That is not manual labor.
Not even close.
Try doing a complex root canal on a calcified, impacted molar at 8 a.m. while the patient is actively gagging, your back is spasming, and your assistant can't find the correct endodontic file. Do not complain to me about the grueling physical toll of 2 scenes a day.
The lack of perspective is staggering, yes. She's getting paid a massive premium to converse with her peers in luxury settings, and she treats it like she's working in a coal mine.
Exactly.
But analytically, it shows that reality TV stamina is a very specific muscle. If you've been off the main cast for a while, as Vicki has, that muscle atrophies.
That makes sense.
The constant hypervigilance, the need to always be on, the mental gymnastics of navigating manufactured drama, she simply doesn't have the cardiovascular endurance for it anymore. The game has sped up, and she wants to go to sleep.
Speaking of atrophied social muscles, let's quickly touch on these microfeuds that are popping up across the networks, like Whack-A-Mole, Salt Lake City, Mary Cosby, and Angie K.
They unfollowed each other on Instagram right after filming began for season 7. And the timing is what makes it notable, because this was shortly after the tragic passing of Mary's son.
It just shows how incredibly, terrifyingly fragile these housewives' alliances are. One minute, Angie is posting this beautiful, heartfelt public tribute to Mary's son, offering condolences.
Right.
And the literal next minute, they're hitting the unfollow button over some perceived slight during a group dinner about a snowsuit. It's emotional whiplash.
It highlights the purely transactional nature of their relationships. The empathy only extends as far as the filming schedule allows, but a much darker, more insidious microfeud is happening over on Southern Hospitality. Oh my God, the Emmy and Bradley situation? This infuriated me.
Right. Let's break down the mechanics of what Emmy did. So, Bradley allegedly recorded Emmy making highly negative, gossipy comments about him and TJ through a closed hotel room door.
Which, okay, he was eavesdropping.
He then sent her a text with the audio, proving he caught her red-handed. What is Emmy's response? Instead of taking accountability, confronting the fact that she was caught talking trash and apologizing, she goes to the rest of the group and tells them that she felt unsafe around Bradley.
A massive, dangerous microaggression.
Precisely. She weaponized clinical therapy speak to deflect from her own bad behavior. Let's be clear about what the word unsafe means. Unsafe implies physical jeopardy. It implies a threat of violence.
Right.
Using a heavily loaded, psychologically weighty term like unsafe regarding a black male castmate
Yeah.
simply because you are embarrassed that he caught you gossiping is incredibly dangerous. It is a dilution of clinical language.
It is so messed up. She has since issued a public apology and said she deeply regrets her choice of terminology, but it's a classic, transparent reality TV survival maneuver. When you are caught dead to rights, immediately claim emotional jeopardy to shift the narrative and become the victim.
It's so manipulative. It diminishes the experiences of people who are actually in unsafe situations.
Yeah.
But babes, if we want to talk about elite-level manipulation and shifting narratives, we have to talk about the Valley. We have to talk about the absolute villain era that is currently unfolding.
The shifting of power dynamics on the Valley is a fascinating sociological case study to watch. The producers are playing chess.
I am officially standing Nia and Danny Bucco. They're the only pure, wholesome things left on television. Nia, point blank, looked at the camera and said that Janet Caperna is the common denominator of all the cast drama.
And she is.
And she is. Janet is in the middle of every single rumor, stirring the pot with a giant wooden spoon, and then the second anyone pushes back, she retreats and plays the pregnant victim.
Janet is operating on a mid-tier level of manipulation, but the true high-level strategic move by production is Lala Kent. They removed Jax Taylor, who was the ultimate villain, the chaotic black hole center of gravity for the entire show, and they inserted Lala to fill that exact void.
And Jasmine Good called it out immediately.
Yeah.
Jasmine literally said on camera that she wouldn't hang out with Lala outside of the show. She refused to pretend. Lala was so visibly offended.
I love the comparison of Lala taking Jax's role because their methodologies are completely different. Jax Taylor operated on pure, unbridled reptilian id.
He really did. Just pure chaos.
He lied, he cheated, he stole sunglasses, he started rumors, and he barely possessed the self-awareness to know why he was doing it. He was a force of destructive nature. Lala, on the other hand, operates on highly calculated television production instinct.
She is very produced.
She knows her exact assignment from the network. She knows she needs to stir the pot, secure screen time, and drive the plot forward. But when Jasmine bluntly stated, "We are co-workers, not friends," she shattered the entire illusion of the show.
She broke the fourth wall.
It's peak shade because it strips away the pretense of the organic friend group and exposes the cold, metallic machinery of reality television.
The fourth wall isn't just broken, babes. It is shattered into a million pieces on the floor. But speaking of friend groups collapsing in real time, right before our eyes, we have to transition to the absolute chaos of Summer House.
We must. Because they are currently delivering the most elite, chaotic, multi-layered betrayal on television right now. The Summer House crossover ecosystem is vibrating at a frequency that could shatter glass.
Amanda, West,
Yeah.
and Ciara.
Yeah.
The love triangle that is actively destroying the internet. Babes, I need to state my bias up front. I am fiercely, violently protective of Ciara Miller.
We all.
She's a queen. She's been put through the ringer by the men on this network, and she laid down her absolute boundaries regarding her supposed best friend, Amanda, hooking up with West.
Let's analyze the ultimatum mechanism here. According to insiders, Ciara has laid down a very specific condition. She told the group that she will only accept Amanda and West's new relationship if they literally get married.
Yes. She said losing a deep, foundational female friendship over a fleeting situationship isn't worth the collateral damage. If Amanda is going to backstab her, break girl code, and date the guy who publicly played Ciara all last summer, it better be true, everlasting love.
It has to be a sure thing.
If it's just a summer fling in the Hamptons, Ciara is never forgiving her.
It is an incredibly high-stakes ultimatum. It places an immense amount of pressure on a fledgling relationship. But if you want to look at where the true alliances lie, you have to look at the social media data. Forget what the cast is saying in interviews. Look at the mothers.
With West's mom, the matriarch.
Exactly. West's mother is still actively following Ciara on Instagram, but she is notably not following Amanda.
That tells you everything you need to know. The mother has spoken. She wants Ciara. She recognizes quality. But babes, the person who is losing their absolute mind over this entire situation is not even Ciara. It's Kyle Cook.
Oh, Kaya.
Kyle is DJing at Soft Bar in New York. Which, by the way, when did Kyle Cook, the mullet-wearing lover of Loverboy, become an EDM DJ? I digress. During his set, he played a literal diss track about West.
Let's analyze the lyrics and the intent of this masterpiece. Kyle played a track apparently created by a Bravo fan account that says, and I quote, "Is West there?" Tell him he's a piece of shit.
So blunt.
The track goes on to call out West's fake little charm, accuses him of secretly hooking up with Amanda, and explicitly references him lying to Andy Cohen on the Watch What Happens live stage.
Move west, to the left, to the left. Babes, Kyle is out here acting like Kendrick Lamar dropping bars at a crowded club. He's so incredibly mad his wife left him, and now she is dating the new guy.
But here is the crucial analytical question. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Is Kyle Cook genuinely heartbroken? Is he deeply wounded that his estranged wife is dating a guy who primarily wears baggy jorts? Or is Kyle Cook a highly seasoned, deeply cynical reality TV veteran who realizes his relevance is slipping, his storyline is fading, and playing a viral diss track at a crowded Manhattan bar is absolutely guaranteed to get picked up by Page Six, TMZ, and every Bravo gossip site on the internet?
No, I am pushing back on you. I refuse to believe it's just a cold, calculated PR stunt. You are giving him way too much credit.
No.
Did you see Kyle's face on Watch Weapons Live?
I did.
His ego is incredibly fragile. That man is genuinely emotionally spiraling because a younger guy with a mustache stole his wife and his screen time. It is pain, not strategy.
I disagree. I think Kyle recognizes a lucrative storyline when he sees one. He's a businessman. He is weaponizing his own marital betrayal for algorithm engagement. It's business. He knows exactly what he's doing behind those turntables.
Well, while Kyle and West are rolling in the mud and making amateur diss tracks, let's talk about the unbothered queens.
Yeah.
Because Hannah Berner is thriving.
A phenomenal textbook career pivot.
She is officially in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, posing in a tiny green two-piece in Montauk at the Hero Beach Club. While her former housemates are imploding their marriages, screaming at each other in the kitchen, and fighting for relevance, Hannah is out here doing sold-out stand-up comedy tours, interviewing celebrities, and getting Sports Illustrated features.
It's impressive.
It is the ultimate, undeniable revenge.
Success is the most efficient form of retaliation. She extracted herself from the toxic environment and flourished. And we are seeing a very similar unbothered energy from Kelsey Ballerini.
Yes. The internet rumors were flying that Kelsey was secretly dating Craig Conover from Southern Charm. A TikTok creator named Jordy Cray posted a video emphatically shutting it down, saying it was 100% false.
And Kelsey's response?
She didn't write a long notes app apology. She didn't release a PR statement. She literally just liked the TikTok. That's it. One single, solitary like to swat away the rumor like a pesky gnat.
Although, the insider who originally planted the rumor doubled down, claiming Craig and Kelsey were hooking up in New York City specifically to avoid his current girlfriend, Paige DeSorbo.
Which is wild, logistically complicated geographical maneuvering. But Kelsey doesn't care. She gave the video a like and kept it moving, unbothered. And speaking of moving, we have the ultimate reality TV crossover happening right now on Netflix.
This is a fascinating case study in reality TV career trajectories and corporate network hopping. Allie Luber, DJ James Kennedy's ex-girlfriend from Vanderpump Rules.
She dodged the domestic violence incident with James. She dodged the rumors of joining the cast of Southern Hospitality, and where does she land?
Perfect Match, Season 4 on Netflix. Hosted by Nick Lachey, she has fully, cleanly extracted herself from the Bravo cinematic universe and entered the Netflix unscripted ecosystem.
A huge step up.
It is a brilliant lateral move. She goes from the toxic, incestuous, alcohol-fueled group of SUR bartenders in West Hollywood to a glossy, high-budget, high-stakes dating competition surrounded by beautiful people from Too Hot to Handle.
Good for her. Get your Netflix bag, Allie. Find your match and stay 1,000 miles away from DJ James Kennedy. But babes, we love the petty hookups. We love the messy diss tracks, the magazine covers, and the Netflix crossovers. But sometimes reality TV crosses a massive line.
It does.
It goes from chaotic and fun to genuinely, deeply disturbing.
We have to talk about the dark side of reality.
We do. Because when the production cameras stop rolling, the severe psychological dysfunction doesn't. And it often bleeds into the legal system and state agencies in highly destructive ways. Let's start with Farrah Abraham.
I am visibly, physically disgusted by this story. Farrah Abraham from the MTV Teen Mom franchise literally called Child Protective Services on her former co-stars Caitlin Lowell and Tyler Baltiera.
The catalyst for this escalation is the absolute definition of absurdity. Tyler Baltiera left a comment on an Instagram post defending a hairstylist.
Just a comment. This hairstylist went public claiming she performed a grueling 12-hour hair extension service for Farrah, and Farrah completely ripped her off, refused to pay the bill, and claimed it was a free collaboration. Tyler simply commented to the stylist, "I'm proud of you for speaking up."
That's it. That is all he did. He supported a small business owner. And Farrah's response to that single comment was to go on a completely unhinged, vitriolic rant, calling Tyler and Caitlin broke, narcissistic, crackheads, and then she actually picked up the phone, called CPS, and reported them for child development threatening engagements.
Let's analyze the sheer, terrifying danger of this behavior. Child Protective Services is an underfunded, overworked state agency designed to protect children from actual life-threatening abuse and severe neglect.
Exactly.
Weaponizing that state resource, triggering an investigation that could traumatize children and tear a family apart simply because someone left a mildly critical comment on an Instagram post about an unpaid salon bill is a staggering abuse of the system.
It's disgusting.
Farrah publicly claimed she did it because of their quote-unquote mental illness and abusive behaviors online, but let's be clear about the mechanics here. What she is actually doing is tying up state investigators and terrorizing a family as a retaliation tactic for her own PR crisis.
It's pure retaliation.
It is a gross misuse of power and privilege. It follows a dark trend in influencer culture, akin to swatting, where people use authorities as a weapon for personal vendettas.
It is sick. It is actually sociopathic to bring innocent kids and government investigators into an influencer feud over cheap hair extensions. It makes my stomach turn. And staying on the dark side of legal issues and violent behavior, Taylor Frankie Paul, the breakout star of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
The legal update here is that prosecutors in Salt Lake County formally declined to file new domestic violence charges against Taylor over a February incident involving her ex-boyfriend, Dakota Mortensen.
Okay.
The district attorney cited a lack of evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to secure a conviction. They are also not pursuing probation violations regarding her previous charges.
Which, okay, strictly legally speaking, she is cleared of this new specific incident. But babes, the conversation around her right now is insane. Her fans are currently petitioning and begging ABC to air her canceled season of The Bachelorette. Disney scrapped the entire season after that horrible, violent 2023 video surfaced.
The infamous video where she was seen aggressively throwing heavy metal bar stools at Dakota, and allegedly one of the stools inadvertently struck her young child.
Exactly. And this opens up a massive debate about reality TV ethics. Should a major network like ABC ever air a season of a romantic dating show with a lead who has that much dark, violent, documented baggage attached to them?
Analytically, the liability for a corporate entity like ABC Disney is astronomical. You cannot produce a lighthearted, aspirational, romantic fantasy show, complete with rose ceremonies, evening gowns, and fantasy suites, when the viewing audience has literally seen police dashcam footage or ring camera video of the lead engaging in erratic domestic violence.
It ruins the whole fantasy.
It completely shatters the required suspension of disbelief. The network's decision to pull the plug, despite millions of dollars in sunken production costs, was the only viable corporate risk management strategy. The fans who are petitioning to see it aired are entirely separating the entertainment product from the grim human reality of the situation.
It's true. You can't just edit around someone throwing furniture at their partner's head. You can't put a sparkly dress on that. It's too dark. It stops being fun, lighthearted gossip and becomes actual true crime. And finally, someone who knows the absolute darkest side of reality TV marriages better than anyone, Khloe Kardashian.
Khloe is currently slamming her ex-husband, Lamar Odom, over his new Netflix documentary, Untold.
I deeply, truly empathize with Khloe here. She went on a podcast and was so incredibly vulnerable. She explained that she did the interviews for this documentary for free. She didn't take a dime. She did it as a favor to Lamar because Netflix pushed her and said they couldn't accurately tell his life story without her perspective. She sat down under those lights and spent hours reliving her deepest trauma. And what is the result of her generosity?
The result is that the final cut of the documentary heavily features Lamar and his inner circle of friends actively insinuating that Khloe only married him for fame and media attention. Khloe's reaction was devastatingly simple. She said, "I feel so dumb."
She said she feels dumb. Babes, this woman halted her entire divorce, proceeding to legally make medical decisions for him. She literally saved his life when he had a near-fatal catastrophic overdose in a Nevada brothel.
She did.
She bathed him, she fed him, she paid for his rehabilitation. And 10 years later, he's making slick jokes about their Vegas wedding, and his friends are saying she used him for clout. She was a Kardashian, she was already famous, she didn't need Lamar Odom for clout. At what point do you just stop signing release forms for your toxic exes?
That is the tragedy of her specific pathology. She suffers from a deeply ingrained savior complex. She fundamentally believes that if she demonstrates enough grace, enough unconditional forgiveness, and actively contributes to his public redemption arc, like sitting down for his documentary, he will finally look at her and offer her the respect and gratitude she has always deserved.
But he never does.
But he doesn't. He never will. He rewrites his own history to protect his fragile ego. At a certain point, the boundary has to be absolute. You cannot participate in the PR rehabilitation of someone who fundamentally disrespects your humanity.
It is the ultimate toxic X boundary.
Mm.
Cut the cord, Chloe. Let him tell his own sad story without using your beautiful face to sell the rights to Netflix. Wow. Babes, my heart is racing. I need another sip of this iced latte. Caffeine, chaos, work drama, gossip overload, Thursday survival. We have truly been through it today.
We have waded through an unprecedented volume of human mess today. We've analyzed the legality of Amazon wiretaps in Miami, $55,000 yearly payouts for stepping on patio pavers, the strategic deployment of diss tracks at Manhattan bars, and the horrifying weaponization of non-disclosure agreements and child protective services. It is a terrifying masterclass in human dysfunction.
It really is. And now, Snark Squad, I am turning the floor over to you. I need you in the comments right now. Number 1, do you have a work bestie, or is it every person for themselves in your office? Number 2, what's the most chaotic work call you've ever gotten? Tell me your 6 a.m. schedule nightmares. And babes, what gossip story are you obsessed with right now?
And while you are reflecting on your own workplace trauma and reality TV obsessions, a quick reminder on housekeeping. Please rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on.
Send us your submissions. Send this to your coworker bestie so you can gossip about it in the break room while hiding from the doctors. Thank you to the Snark Squad for always showing up and spiraling with us.
I will leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over as you go about your day. We've looked at the wiretaps, the CPS calls, the stool throwing, and the relentless litigation. Are we watching the reality TV ecosystem finally eat itself? Between the criminal charges and the lawsuits, is the era of fun, petty reality TV officially dead, and has it simply been replaced by actual slow-motion true crime?
Chills. Literal chills. Think about that, babe. Stay shady.
Stay iconic.
And we'll see you on the Snark side.